Hello and welcome. So today I want to talk about what I believe is one of the biggest secrets in marketing today. Now, I'm not a marketer. I'm a strategic business developer, project manager, and developer of operating systems. However, I know marketing. I've studied marketing. I've researched marketing. I researched marketing with two colleagues last year for over 6 months, where we set up our own marketing business and actually collected data to enable us to build our operating systems for marketing professionals. So, what is the biggest mistake or the biggest thing that out there for marketing people that actually they don't really concentrate on? They're so driven by building prospect CRM pipelines. They're so driven by finding the next lead. They're so driven by trying to build that pipeline to be the strongest pipeline possible. But one thing they miss, the biggest thing they miss is they're not qualifying businesses. Marketing professionals, from our data and what we collected, where we interviewed many white label marketing agencies, because we worked with them, because we didn't want to really make money when we were actually researching the business. However, obviously we picked up clients, so we had to find a solution to put those clients out. We sent those clients out to white labeling marketing professionals. With doing that, we built up relationships and interviewed them throughout the process. But we also applied ourselves to networking, where we interviewed more marketing professionals. So we have the solid data. And one of the biggest things marketing professionals look at when prospecting or cold outreach, they look at ways to actually build their clientele, but they look at volume. So they're looking at quantity over quality, and that is totally the wrong thing to do. So they're looking at the volume of cold calls they do a week, how many leads they get from those cold calls or email outreaches or whatever they're going to do. But what they should be doing is actually slowing themselves down and actually qualifying businesses before they go into that process. So, for example, they should be doing, 100 calls a week at 20 a day, but 20 of those businesses have already been qualified, where you've looked at technical issues, preventing the prospects to be able to grow their business. Now, in qualification, there's various things that they should be looking at in qualification, because from when we worked in the marketing industry last year and researched, we qualified over 200 plus businesses for our direct mail campaigns. So because we wanted to build an operating system based on direct mail marketing, which we did, which is called direct mail growth engine. Now, based on our findings for these 200 plus businesses that we actually qualified, we found that 95% actually had poor digital footprints, poor structures. So that gives you an indication that businesses don't realise that they've got poor foundations in digital marketing. So they have poor footprints. So, for example, poor DNSs, poor page speeds, technical SEO issues, no SEO at all. I mean, the list is endless. And marketing professionals should be, in our opinion, qualifying these businesses along these lines. Because no matter what you do, if you win a client and you build on top of these foundations, eventually whatever you're building on top of these foundations is just going to crumble. So what happens then is you get a bad name, your business gets a bad name. Now, I understand that you're not being enabled to qualify. It's another problem, and I'll explain. So what's happening is that a prospect will turn up, They will turn up with a strategy in hand. They want to give you that strategy and tell you what you should be doing for them. So, but what should be happening, which should be the total opposite, they should be coming to you and they should be saying to you, well, what do you propose us to do in this situation? But what's happening is that they're turning up with a strategy in hand saying to you, this is what I want, this is what I want to pay. And because the marketing industry is saturated with competition and the competition is high, and I can give you another example of that, because we found over in just a 25-mile radius, when we were watching our competitors, we found that there was in 65, actually there was more than 65, but we followed 65 in just a 25-mile radius. Now, 65 in a 25-mile radius, only 8 was actually working on their own business. But that's a story for another video. So this is a big problem for marketing professionals, because if prospects are actually coming to you and trying to find you, then they're turning up and the buyer-seller journey again gets flipped around. They're controlling the narrative. You're not controlling the narrative. 95% of the time, or 90% of the time, marketing professionals accept the strategy. They then build whatever they're going to build for the client and do what they're going to do for the client. And a high percentage of that will fail because of the structure, stability of the actual business, the digital footprint. So, getting back to qualification, you should be qualifying prospects, and it's so important. If you qualify prospects, you can then approach the prospects with your qualification. And when a business sees that you've actually done your homework on them, the doors open. They won't open all the time, but majority of the time they will open, because it's building an element of trust. Because, and I hate to say this, and it is, and I'm a straight talker and I speak the truth, but the marketing industry is full of a lot of cowboys. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry, but it's full of a lot of cowboys. People thinking they can actually do marketing because they've posted a few posts on social media, and they then start a business and try to grow a marketing business. This has a negative effect on marketing as a whole, but also has a negative effect on really experienced marketing professionals because of the bad image it's being portrayed out there. So qualification is so important. So you need to be qualifying prospects before you do any cold calling. Any face-to-face selling should be qualified. Any email qualification, any cold outreach on email should be qualified. Any telephone calls should be qualified. Everything should be qualified. Direct mail marketing, for me and my team, and because we've built an operating system in it, and I have worked direct mail marketing for 20 plus years. I've worked for global businesses as a strategic business developer, and I've run campaigns. I wouldn't even like to think how many campaigns I've run. I've run thousands and thousands of campaigns. And at that particular time, they were manual. So I was doing manual qualification. Now our operating system now qualifies, well, actually captures businesses, qualifies the businesses all by AI. It also organizes, it has offers, it covers absolutely everything. But take a look, it'll be in the, there'll be a link down below. So as I said, qualification is so important. You need to be qualifying businesses, and the qualification process is based on structures. That's where I would start. That's when we actually, before I finish, actually, I'll tell you one little secret. So when we researched last year in 2025, when we first established a marketing agency for that research, we actually started off using the same processes that all marketing agencies use. So let's say book a call, SWOT analysis, report. And we ran tests on all these. And I won't go through all the scenarios, but what happened eventually is what we came away from. We came away from the marketing, the norm, and we went into actually structures and systems. So we concentrated, just focused on structures and systems. So we were focusing on just building businesses, restructuring them, and then building systems on top of those structures. That was the definition. To a point, and I kid you not, to a point we actually charged to actually diagnose their business. So we could actually charge them, although it wasn't a lot of money, we actually could charge them. It was £30. We could actually charge them to diagnose their business because how we had structured ourselves through direct mail. Think about that. So we turned the whole industry around through a letter. Important fact. Until next time, see you soon.